Hello everybody, video here for today. This is the No Cap recap of Curse of Oak Island, Season 11, Episode 23, called Cone E Island. Aired April 16th, 2024. If you missed my recaps of previous episodes, there's a link in the upper right. Let's get into it. Previously, on the Curse of Oak Island, people have been looking for an incredible treasure for 229 years. In the Money Pit area adjacent to the Baby Blob, in which the highest trace evidence of gold in the water was found, the borehole from the previous episode, named Avanti 1, revealed just in situ soil all the way to target depth. Avanti 1 location is where the blue blob and the red baby blob touch, near the stones of the Oak Island Women's Memorial, built around the then presumably unimportant searcher shaft called the Garden Shaft. All that changed once the high trace evidence was found in the blob and then refined to the smaller area of the baby blob. The next borehole will be called Bravo 1. It will be slightly north of the baby blob, and it appears that more memorial stones will be displaced, at least temporarily. On lot 5, they're still not at the bottom of the structure. Close to the top, they found 1700s artifacts, but the lower ones are older. Helen said she was scraping what she thought was the final layer, and then started finding half bowls of creamware pottery, so it's deeper still. She finds an area of blue clay that she says could have been put down there for a more solid foundation. The blue clay will likely match the composition of that found elsewhere in the structure, also in Smith's Cove, and in the original Money Pit shaft, which is perhaps where it came from. Marty takes a sample to drop off to Emma in the lab. The European field trip contingent reassemble in Valkenburg in the Netherlands, specifically at the Valkenburg Castle ruins, where Templar knights were kept prisoner after being excommunicated by the King of France in league with the Pope. The team is investigating connections to artifacts made from metal of Scandinavian origin, as well as based on the documentation Dr. Doug Simmons presented that showed Templar and Vikings having crossed paths. The catacombs underneath have many carvings, including a 4-dot cross and a goose paw. In 2022, Corey and Maul showed Rick and members of the team this goose paw on the rocky shoreline of Liverpool, Nova Scotia, 50 miles southwest of Oak Island. Other Templar symbols were carved there as well. Corey and Maul is on this trip too and points out this symbol he has seen in other Templar prisons, which is often described as a Viking sail. He also finds this boat with 2 masts. Back on Oak Island, this is the title reference in which Cone E of Nolan's Cross will get pulled out of place straight up instead of being tipped over, which disturbs the soil below it. After a first try that fails, they add another strap and are successful. Dr. Spooner says it's a small black layer of soil, then what he thinks is the sea horizon. Marty retrieves leaves and such from the soil at the bottom of the water-filled hole. He also recovers this rock that Tom says is a conglomerate, to which Marty says he hopes it's cement. In Europe, we reconvene on the island of Bornholm in Denmark, specifically at Nylar's Church, believed to have been built by members of the Knights Templar in the 1100s. They have come to see this runestone. And this one, that were found near the church and were eventually put inside it. As early as the 300s AD, the Norse carved runes into boulders and stones for religious, commemorative, and marking new territory reasons. Rick notices that quite a few runes match the symbols on the 90-foot stone. He also points out that the description of the stone was dark olive, similar to these rune stones, and the Templar cross at the top of this one highlighted. Also on the island of Bornholm, they visit Madsabaka, home of rock carvings thought to be as much as 3,500 years old. They include a 4-dot cross, and a match for the Hyades, a group of stars that Professor Gaspani found also match the 5 stone piles on Oak Island. The next morning, the group goes to Kortenminde, Denmark, to visit the Lobe Viking Museum and curator Anne Jepsen Nyborg. The museum is built on the site of the burial of the king of Lobe within a 70-foot long Viking ship in 925 AD. They asked her about the bolt found in the 1960s by Robert Dunfield, and she says that she could easily find that in an archaeological dig there, and she would date it back to the Vikings or even the early medieval period. She shows them a similar one on a longbow arrow. Back in the Oak Island lab, nothing unusual is found about the makeup of the conglomerate that Marty found under cone E. But Laird says that when he was microscopically taking pictures of it, he saw hair sticking out of it. That might be it, about 3/4 the way up on the right side. Very hard to see that. I don't know if that's a scratch on the table or if that's that hair sticking out. Jack asks if they can DNA test it. Emma says SIM would be good. Scanning electron microscope. Actually, she might have said SEM. Next time on an all-new The Curse of Oak Island Season 11, Episode 24, called Hairy Situation. The episode synopsis reads as follows. While a trip abroad makes old world connections to the new world on Oak Island, the team is thrilled when new evidence indicates that whoever was on Lot 5 was also deep in the money pit. I imagine that would be that blue clay. I'll continue recapping Season 11 late Tuesday nights through the spring, as well as continue to do retro recaps of Seasons 6 through 8, Seasons 1 through 5, 9, 10, and the aired episodes of Season 11 are already done and are in my Oak Island playlist. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment.